This may come as a surprise to you, but the Punisher is a character who is more than a logo slapped on the back of trucks owned by dudes who either want to become cops to legally hurt people, or who own guns because they imagine they'll have to shoot the entire government to save the world one day. No, the Punisher is actually a dude who could be described as Marvel's alternate reality Batman, with some tweakings to their formula to forever outlaw him from entering family-friendly territory like Batman often finds himself in. Meet Frank Castle, a man whose wife and kids were murdered by gangsters in front of his own eyes, causing him to go on a vengeance spree against the crime organizations of the world. And meet Archie Andrews, a bland as white-bread teenager whose most perilous conflict is choosing which of the two obsessively infatuated girls he knows he should go steady with. One of these two is trying to kill the other. But why? I mean, but what? Okay, let's approach this from a different angle. You out there most likely know who Archie is, despite the fact that you most likely don't care about him. Think back to the last time you went to the grocery store. He's the guy on the cover of those tiny little comic books in the checkout aisle next to the tabloid magazines that somehow still exist despite the internet and the standard American diet displays. Archie doesn't really need a history lesson for this video to fill time like how most uncreative YouTubers would do it, because what you see is kind of what you get. Archie started all the way back in 1939, back when America felt good enough from reading harmless teenage hijinks because Pearl Harbor hadn't happened yet, so our international bloodlust had yet to be realized. Archie pals around in Riverdale, USA with his friend Jughead, while Betty and Veronica compete to take him to the malt shop in a love triangle that's as dicey and spicy as milk. Wholesome doesn't define Archie. Archie defines wholesome. In those two sentences alone, I have given you a flawless picture of what to expect if you crack one of the Archie comic books open. So why the fuck is the Punisher trying to kill Archie? Well, now I have to backpedal away from the tried and true American red, white, and blue formula and get a little more out there. Archie in his mainline entries may be focused on giving your grandfather a sensible chuckle, but Archie in non-canon media is downright batshit insane. First, we can start with the canon, not canon spin-offs. Josie and the Pussycats and Sabrina the Teenage Witch, a furry LARPing pop rock band and an actual sorcerer teenager respectively, are two big properties that you may know of that spun off entirely from the Archie universe. They're not too outlandish in any capacity. The Archieverse has plenty of room for hot chick boring music and eventual live-action vehicle featuring a creepy as fuck animatronic. Next, I'd be a fool not to mention that the years have been unkind to our ginger mister. Archie has also seen himself be reimagined for a more modern audience time and time and time and time and time and time again, including Riverdale, a show so misdirected it perfectly insanity loops all the way back to being utterly amazing. Riverdale would need its own video for me to really do it justice. It's one of the greatest examples of using a source material as pure name recognition and nothing else that I've ever seen. Everyone involved in that show was probably having a spectacular time doing whatever they wanted except for John Goldwater and Bob Montana, the original creators of Archie. But they had already been dead for years, so their bad time was probably caused by worms eating their taints more than anything else. But there's a limit to how crazy that can get. There's still some rules that need to be followed. Some, and I mean some sort of sense of order. To catapult that away entirely, we need to look at the realm of Archie crossovers. Archie is just like Scooby-Doo, an old-as-fuck property that's the perfect launch platform for anything you want to do to razzle its dazzle. Scooby-Doo is about mysteries. Archie is about teenage hijinks. Throw whatever you want at these characters and it's gonna work. Batman and Robin? Sure, Archie meets them. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are too physically impossible to even exist? I don't give a fuck. They're friends with Archie now. Forgotten shitty TV shows? Go for it. Comedy gimmicks that overstayed their welcome? Yep, we've got that too. And even the ladies get in on the action, as Betty and Veronica put aside their bickering over Archie's loins to meet a barbarian, a vampire, a living plant hybrid, and a woman. But now let's get to what I consider to be the big three and the focus of today's video. The crossovers that eventually hit my breaking point of making me throw up my hands and say, sure, fuck it, why not? People can do whatever they want now. I'm gonna go live in Atlantis.
You know, I gotta say, this is pretty cool.
The Punisher meets Archie. Archie versus Predator. And Archie versus Sharknado. The pyramid of, this is a joke, isn't it? Made real, because modern capitalism has proven that people don't care at all about anything except throwing money at franchises that they already like. What more intro is there? Let's just review these pieces of not shit? Ooh yeah, plot twist this early in the video. Some of these comics might actually be good in an entirely unironic fashion, but that's just because they are ironic. You'll see what I mean. Let's just start the reviews. Oh god. The crossover you've been dreading. In what sense? Am I an avid Archie fan who every day prays my golden-haired Fairchild isn't hunted down by a bloodlusted sociopath? Or do I love the Punisher and hate to see him hang out at the local malt shop? That's my second malt shop joke of this video, and I'll be honest, I'm going to be making a lot more because it's my favorite old-school reference for absolutely no reason. I first have to give credit to The Punisher Meets Archie for knowing what it is. There's author intros written at the beginning of the book, and the first line confirms my initial suspicions. It started as a joke, which is a good start, actually. Very, very few grimdark reimaginings of established properties work out well when they don't already have gothic leanings. Some properties are easy, such as turning a costumed hooligan into an underworld crime fighter working well because of the tragic backstory and the mystery of the weak angles leading naturally to crime's dark undertones. And sometimes, if you're an absolutely fantastic writer, you can pull a mature reboot out of nowhere that's absolutely fantastic, but most of the time beelining away from family-friendly to try to shock or thrill rock audiences just ends up being sloppy and lame. Oh god damn it, first Riverdale and now these two comic books. I really need to stop spoiling future topics for future videos. It's not my fault that people just make really interesting crap. And here's a little character synopsis page to just sell how much of a polarized idea this is. Either they're going full blast on the mismatch here to create something amazing, or we're about to witness a full frontal Hindenburg in the form of comic book writers stuttering out, "Trust me, this is funny, I swear," over the course of 48 pages. A criminal is running. He hits a wall and screams, "Oh, Turns out the man is being chased by the Punisher, who speaks fluent ease. There's a shootout and the man escapes to a nearby train station, where he's revealed to be the Ace Bunny to Archie's Bugs Bunny, the fake Crash to Crash Bandicoot, an ugly fuck to a plucky fuck, if you will. He's Archie's nasty doppelganger, I tells ya. Welcome to Riverdale proper, where Archie is about to do his best John F. Kennedy impression, except it's a fake-out and just annoying brat Leroy coming to soak Archie's head. Archie retaliates and ends up blasting Veronica's face with his high-pressure liquid. And in her anger, she tells Archie to go soak his head, which must mean she's blood-boilingly pissed because anyone can see that's exactly what just happened, and Veronica's anger has melted away her object permanence. More importantly, Archie is being followed around by a menacing Ford Aspire. The Punisher pushes a gun into a round man's tum-tum while shaking him down for clues on his quarry. The Punisher name drops the criminal as a man named Melvin J., who's going by a bunch of stupid nicknames including Red Fever. Now for the rest of the comic, just keep in mind Melvin J. goes by Red Fever because they use the names pretty interchangeably. Big Boy mentions he got a phone call from him earlier that day saying he was going to set up shop in Riverdale. Punisher hops in a car with his tech whiz associate Microchip, and by this point they may as well go pick up their comedic relief friend named Jokey Laughs a Lot to complete the vigilante crime-fighting cliche trio. But shut up about that. There's much more important teenage drama to watch. Melvin J. has infiltrated Riverdale pretending to be the owner of a big-time pharmaceutical company, and the bougie Veronica is introduced to him by her wealthy fried chicken empire father. Everyone can't shut up about how much Melvin resembles Archie, and after Veronica's last soaking that was approximately 22 inches above where she's most used to having that sensation, she begins to hatch a most likely stupid revenge plan. Oh shit, whoop, they're getting to the revenge plot now. I thought I had more time until this. Okay, hang on, let me jump around in my script here. I thought I had a bit more time to like talk about. Okay, let's see what I said for this page. And then Captain Picard put his hands firmly on her waist. "We mustn't take long. Captain Jack Sparrow's crew is waiting for us," he whispered under his hot breath. "Don't worry, I'll be quick," replied Diane Foxington, her fur glistening. Nope. That is something that I've been writing for 3 years, and I will not release until it's perfect. And, yeah, okay, so Veronica's plan is to invite Melvin to the 1950 school dance instead of Archie to make him jealous. For the love of God, cut away! Oops. I just found myself on top of an actual mountain. No green screen tricks. No tomfoolery. Just this. As far as the eye can see. You might be wondering, how did I do it? Well, Gamer Subs is how I did it. Gamer Subs is the energy drink that gives you the energy to do cool stuff. Sure, you could sit on the internet all day, write your little social media posts, make your little videos like I do, want to be an influencer, or you could influence yourself to achieve stupidly cool things. I know I probably look like a massive tool coming outside, going up here just to sponsor something, but I have a question. What did you do today? Look, it's an emergency Gamer Subs delivery. Use code Huggbees or click the link in the description to get a discount on your Gamer Subs order. Buy some energy drinks. They've got all sorts of other cool merch too. They have fat anime girl titties. I know a lot of you are into that. Most importantly, I'm working very, very hard to get my name slapped on something. And everyone knows I'm the most important human being in the world. After all, I climbed a mountain for you. I'm up here alone on top of these desolate mountain peaks. Only my will and strength... ignore that tourist over there. Don't worry about him. Only my strength and will keeping me alive. And Gamer Subs. Go to the link in the description. Use code Huggbees. Get a discount code on yours. The hell was that? Oh, a woodland creature enthusiastic about my love for Gamer Subs. Look at him. Yes, you can have some too. You want some? I don't know what you are, but you're not getting any of my Gamer Subs. Gamer Subs. Even the creatures on the mountaintop know how good it is. God bless you, Gamer Subs, for making all of this possible and putting a corporate brand on Earth's natural beauty. Punisher and Micro arrive in Riverdale. Micro explains that the Punisher got orders to bring Melvin in alive instead of his usual shoot first and then shoot again and then ask questions later and then shoot one more time mentality, because Melvin has extensive info on all sorts of other criminal organizations that the government wants and is willing to cut Punisher a deal for. Micro offers to buy the Punisher a malt at the malt shop, which puts my malt shop joke counter to 3, and I'm not even the one who made it. And inside said malt shop is Archie drowning his sorrows in distilled diabetes with his pal Jughead. Federal agents step in to arrest Archie, believing him to be Red Fever. They arrest Jughead too because he's being annoying, and you know what? That's perfectly fair. Punisher and Micro see this happen and recognize those agents as no agents at all, but in fact members of a rival gang. It's pretty fucked up they can just lie like that, but there's nothing I can do about it. I'm not even in the comic book. But I don't know how to convey to the writers that my teenage love triangle fanfare is much more important to me than high-stakes criminal violence, so they mercifully cut back to Veronica arriving to the dance with Melvin. This page also has one of my favorite moments in the entire comic. "Hey Andrews, what's with the buck teeth? Only at $1 when you went to the dentist? God damn!" Meanwhile, back in the fun car that only happy-go-lucky people are allowed in, the hyper-realistic drawings of the thugs contrasted with Archie's simple goofball looks are giving me a decent giggle, especially when one of them decides to scream Quick, it's the Punisher! And then someone lets out a massive fart in the car. The noxious fumes from someone's crop dusting causes the car to spin out, and Archie awakens on the pavement to the Punisher giving him a classic Detroit welcome. At the dance, the band technician named Scooter recognizes Red Fever and runs to place a call ratting him out while Red reminds Veronica that maybe a high school dance isn't the best place for a dude who I'm guessing is about 35, even if his date happens to go to that school, and I just realized how fucking creepy this is. While Red begins sinisterly telling Veronica of his true intentions, Betty's been tying up the phone asking Archie's mom if he's late because he's stuck at home browsing Instagram reels again, delaying the call of the Red Fever sighting from getting out. But much more importantly, compared to either of these two plots, are these two high school students utterly blown away by the fact that the school dance is serving hamburgers.
Hamburgers? Oh my fucking god!
Good golly, Martin, they have fucking burgers!
Chester, listen to me. My mom died last week. I don't even care. They have hamburgers.
I know. Your mom died last week. That's horrible. But they have burgers.
My life is at the top. I'm gonna be 40 and dreaming about these hamburgers.
It's all downhill from here. I've peaked already and I'm fine with that.
Oh, you know, I didn't want to say it if it was weird, but I have an erection and I bet it's from the burgers.
That's how you spell burger?
I thought it had an X.
There's a fucking G in it. Oh my god.
Chester, when I get a burger, I'm gonna eat it like this.
This is what religion must feel like.
And the gift does not stop giving there, because this next page absolutely belongs in the Panel Hall of Fame, alongside the likes of Mr. Freeze Gamer Batman, Charles Barkley dunking on Godzilla, and Snowflame's Rainbow Cocaine. Damn! Look at the framing, the color work, the juxtaposition. This page absolutely rules. If you want to critique anything, maybe complain that Punisher's current shooting angle is maybe out of character because it's not instantly lethal to a man he suspects did something worse than jaywalking, but that's just me desperately cramming a joke into this part because this panel is so good. I love it. I absolutely love it. Punisher realizes his mistake, and Archie mistakes that Punisher just opened Uzi fire on his best friend, which again is really funny because why? What has Jughead done to deserve being riddled by 32 rounds of 9mm ammunition? Not pay his tab at the malt shop? I knew the 50s were prejudiced, but Jughead's drinking from the same water fountain as you, Archie. The hitmen see Archie, who they still believe to be Red, escaping with Jughead through a sewer pipe, so they hightail it off the scene only to be tailed by the Punisher. Micro suggests a plan that involves letting them go, while Archie and Jughead instantly become obscenely chipper despite almost having their teeth shattered by either the pavement or a full metal jacket. Archie tries to tell the cops, but because of his history of overreactive false reports, they tell him to buzz off, prompting Archie to do his best Joseph Joestar impression. Because this reveals Archie likes anime and therefore needs chronic mental health evaluation, the station officer relents and assigns a cop to help him. The henchmen get into the car of some other henchmen who, in classic 1950s fashion, outfitted theirs with a smoking section, which makes them all cough silly while divulging their plan to kill Red so that he can't spill his information and then letting the Punisher take the fall for it. But Punisher and Micro are listening into their conversation, of course, and they overhear that the mobsters were the ones tipped off to Red's location at the Riverdale High School dance. Then some old crony bitch calls the cops on the Punisher for illegally parking in her driveway, and the Punisher responds with an absolutely unnecessary escalation of force. Frank, buddy, you're working for the government on this one. Just flash your temporary license to kill permit and tell them to hit the road. Don't flashbang their skulls when you hit them on the road. Meanwhile, the cops in Riverdale do what every American cop is expected to do for any crime not requiring a taser. The bare minimum. Archie and Jughead tell their friends the Punisher is going to crash the high school dance, and that prompts them all to run in a flurry to warn the others. While the Punisher breaks into the school to remind us again of the delightful contrast in tones going on that's somehow working perfectly, Mel begins getting frisky with Veronica by using the identical twin technique, which is you can legally sleep with anyone your siblings get to sleep with. But Veronica turns him down because, well, he's a fucking creepy criminal mastermind. Why else would she? The henchmen infiltrate the dance by posing posing as catering, and the Punisher infiltrates the dance by posing as the new phys ed teacher, which is a great segue to this variant cover of the book, which features Frank Castle locked, loaded, and proudly displaying his Second Amendment rights in the middle of a high school dance, which has about 191 jokes about it, but not a single one of them that I can utter publicly because YouTube's strict policy guidelines are pretty clear when it comes to shocking content. Melvin spots the Punisher and then decides, 1, that's when he'll make his exit, 2, Veronica will make a convenient hostage, and 3, he should use the gun he's carrying to get her to cooperate. And of course he has a gun. This is an average American high school after all. Oh, fuck. I'm sorry. Oh, shit. I slipped. I'm sorry. YouTube, please don't take down my channel. Please, it's all I have. It's all I have. That and my insane amounts of money, my devilish good looks, my charm, my wit, my talent, and a very, very special someone waiting for me at home. That means you, by the way. I just winked. And it's here we get to one of the best moments in the entire comic. You know, normally I have some sort of man-baby temper tantrum about bad writing in these 20-plus-year-old stories that no one cares about anymore, but so far, not only do I have no complaints, I like this a lot. The mobsters in disguise as the catering spot Archie trying to call the cops on Melvin, mistaking him to be Melvin, and then make their move to take him out. But the smoker's cough from the smoke car earlier alerts the Punisher to their undercover presence, letting him get the drop on them. That's clever. That's fun. This comic is fun. They are pairing together a joke idea from the start and towing the tongue-in-cheek line just enough to make the story actually engaging without feeling forced or eye-rolling. I may love stupid shit, but I love stupid shit that wraps around to not being stupid anymore. Micro tries to apprehend Red, but Moose, a dumb jock, not a literal moose, punches Micro, assuming he's a bad guy trying to attack Red for who he mistakes as Archie. Red pulls Veronica along his escape route so he can finally give her that second pearl necklace to complement her first one that he promised her. Stupid literal bullshit cartoon shenanigans occur in the scuffle, prompting the Punisher to get in on the action by literally pieing someone in the face. Okay, it's a cake that he throws, not a pie, but come on! You've got a comic where the Punisher Looney Tunes is someone during a hostage standoff and then says, "You want to cut a deal? Piece of cake." And I'm not embarrassed. I'm impressed. I don't know how they so masterfully blended tones here, but good golly oh molly, they nailed it. And the Archie inflections are rubbing off on me, so I'm gonna swear now to keep them at bay, you bastards. I'm not going to hurt you.
Best news I've heard all day. You're looking for my double, aren't you?
Correct. And more importantly, I'm here to see no harm comes to Riverdale. Come on! Come on, look at this. This is great. Look at this. Come on. I would bet there's only one of you out there that doesn't like this comic. And the difference between me and them is that I'll know the touch of a woman in my lifetime, so I guess I just have to make peace with my superiority and move on. This is great. The gang regroups at the malt shop, just the malt shop, no 1950s jokes here, and listens to a ransom tape sent by Mel to the Punisher. Archie deduces from Veronica's language on the tape that she's being held at a factory being used to prep for the upcoming 4th of July parade. At said factory, Veronica's broken free of her captor, and after washing her neck, she goes into hiding. Mel turns on the factory lights and is startled by a parade of classic parade balloon characters: Spider-Man, Sonic the Hedgehog, knockoff Captain America, and Blue from Blue's Clues with a weight problem, Michelin Man if he was a furry, a like really fucked up Cloud. I think it's supposed to be actually be Jughead's dog Hot Dog from the comics, but why would he be a parade float? Whatever, let's just pretend that the town of Riverdale has a dumb mascot and move on.
Hello everyone, Nerdy Huggbees here. I know some of you in the comments are going to rally back on my joke, so I thought I'd take a bit of time to educate the audience myself. This isn't actually a knockoff of Captain America. This is an Archie Comics original character called The Shield, who actually predates Captain America by almost a year. If anything, Captain America is a ripoff of The Shield, not the other way around. And besides, if they got the rights to The Punisher and Spider-Man for this comic, well, why wouldn't they just use Captain America? Pretty silly if you ask me. And now if you'll excuse me,
I have to go slay some pussy. The Punisher bursts onto the scene and says, and I quote, "Hey, fuckface. You remember that guy Scooter, don't you, fuckface? Well, turns out he knows everything you do, and he's willing to now talk to the police because of all the wacky shit you just pulled in Riverdale, fuckface. So now I don't have to keep you alive, and I can shoot you right in the face. Fuckface." That's my new fan canon catchphrase for the Punisher. You can let me know in the comments if you like it. It was either that or ba-da-ba-ba-ba, the Punisher. Archie's gang bursts through the door, and in the commotion, Red begins shooting while the Punisher begins peeing everywhere. A stray bullet deflates a nearby balloon, which covers the Punisher as he shouts,
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
in frustration. But when in Cartoon Town, reality stops mattering. Calamity abounds left and right until Mel gets his foot caught in a float rope, which hoists him into the sky, revealing his red hair has been a toupee this entire time. That plot development would make more sense dramatically if Mel knew of Archie and started wearing it purposely to disguise as him, but as far as I know, the resemblance was an entire coincidence, and the end of this book just wants us to tack on Andy's bald too along the list of ways to insult this guy. God bless Archie Comics for putting the bald community in their place, those shiny-headed scumbags. Mel, aka Red, aka Chrome Dome, is apprehended by police helicopters, and the Punisher writes in his diary what amounts to, "Boy, was that all fucked up or what?" And the ending is even stranger depending on how you look at it. Frank kisses an old woman because she saved his life by freaking out, and then rides off into the sunset with a Riverdale varsity jacket in tow, announcing their next stop is Gotham City, which doesn't even belong to the same comic book company. And then later, somewhere else entirely, Wolverine finds out Jughead is the most dangerous mutant alive and vows to kill him on the spot in front of all of his friends and family. The end. Well, that was great. No, that's not sarcasm. I have no notes. I really don't. Maybe it's because my expectations were really, really low, but this blew it out of the water. We even get to see this archified rendition of the Punisher logo on the back, and I would just love to see any of you want to be tough guys put this on the back of your Ford F-150, you pussies. And speaking of pussies, it's time for Archie to fuck yet another one, because we're now going to move on to Archie versus Predator. Oh yeah. This is gonna rule. The Predator's almost Saturday morning cartoon villain beady-eyed stare contrasting Archie's canned smiles has kept my good mood rolling. The inside cover even keeps the fun going as the original title of Meats is scratched out to replace it with verses, adorned with lovely blood smatterings. I'm a wee bit tipped into the scales of, wow, now we scale it back a bit, we're losing the wholesomeness rapidly, but I am in this for the long haul. It's spring break and Archie and pals are standing around bored because boredom still exists in the Archie universe because my YouTube channel doesn't exist there. And in fact, neither does my second channel, Huggbees Gamer Mode, where I make hundreds of amazing videos to watch while I work on bigger projects in the meantime. Huggbees Gamer Mode. If you're not subscribed yet, you're a complete and utter dumbass. Some rich kids whose names I don't really know because this is the second time I'm reading Archie in my life pull up trying to undermine the lower class as is their God-given duty, when Jughead pulls a winning sweepstakes ticket out of a bag of potato chips, giving the group a newfound purpose in life. The sweepstakes flies Archie and his pals to Los Perdidos Island, which features a beach, tiki huts, a beach bar, and the finest issue of Sergeant Croc I've ever seen. I mean, look at this gung-ho reading commando. He knows no amount of beach ho snatch can snatch away the excitement of a newly minted adventure of Sergeant Croc. And then my enthusiasm begins to wane slightly. We get a handful of pages of the gang hanging out, some innocent jokes here and there, but then Reggie, typical wisecracker of the group, calls himself a sexual tyrannosaurus in regards to the ladies of the beach, and then we get a fake-out masturbation joke about Dylan, the group nerd, eyeing some secret briefcase pornography when it's actually a telescope. We're losing it. We're losing it. We are losing our grip on the true funny coming from Archie's humble pie world clashing with the real one. We're taking these characters and making them act out of character for the sake of making things edgier. We're entering shitty crossover territory. Good. A giant meteor falls from the sky and everyone gathers round, including those rich kids from before who are so rich they paid to have their entire section of the night sky painted white. When you wish upon a star.
A memorable holiday.
All you could eat buffet.
Archie.
Flawless victory.
Third base.
Death to the proletariat.
Okay, maybe I'm being too hasty. That was pretty awesome. The next morning, stuff happens. It's not important, except that the Predator is now watching the group doing boring high schooler stuff that I gotta be honest, I'm not interested in at all, because this isn't nearly as funny as the Punisher comic. There's a beach beauty contest, which Betty steals a win out from Veronica, and that causes drama, which leads to a ripped swimsuit fight on the beach that the Predator's visor reacts to with all sorts of positive emojis, which restores my hope that this comic is going to focus on the comedic mismatch. Although my reservations are still tempered because this clearly lacks any eggplant, peach, or water drop emojis, so I'm starting to think the writers weren't even trying. Archie trips trying to break it up, breaking Betty's nose in the process, and by this point I'm kind of just like, huh? There's just a lot happening here. Archie is bouncing back and forth between the two chicks faster than that machine that kills males for McNuggets. Reggie is being called a troll by this guy. And Betty is bleeding all over the goddamn place, which if I were more of a lonely loser, I would say is like a typical woman. Sure, yes, these are the Archie characters, we know, but I guess they're being tweaked for the story? I'm just less impressed here than I thought I would be. I mean, it's all for the sake of playing into a campy group of stupid fuck teens get slaughtered horror trope plot. They're turning them into exactly what we would expect from said tropes instead of laying said tropes onto them. Does that make sense? It makes sense to me, but okay, I'll reword it. This is less the characters being thrown into the situation and more the situation already existing and then slowly molding the characters to fit it better rather than working to find clever writing to suit both. Okay, I get it. It's confusing. I will dumb it down for you even more. Betty legally changes her name to Pissy as she storms off from the group and stumbles onto an ancient shrine that the two rich kids have been looting this entire time. Betty touches some obviously cursed shit with her grubby mitts and places a curse on rich girl who's named Cheryl? I don't know. And Veronica. The rest of the gang eventually find Betty, previously suspecting that she was devoured by the jungle jaguars, which prompts them all to become absolutely stupid oblivious to the blood dripping all over them from above. Oh well, it's probably nothing to worry. Oh my fucking god! Okay, tone established. This is a Predator comic with the thin veneer of Archie splashed on it. We're not going to be getting any servings of humble pie this time around. We're going to be reading Cabin in the Woods comic number 476-B with a light sprinkling of familiar characters on it. I had some hopes that we'd be doing a When Worlds Collide type deal, but I don't think Archie comics would ever feature eviscerated corpses like this in 1,000 years. So now we've just got to accept that we're going to be coasting on 10% Pirates of the Caribbean Johnny Depp and 90% Nightmare on Elm Street Johnny Depp, because there's shit in the bed and it smells like generic slasher movie. Well, that's enough fun for Archie and his friends, and it's time to leave the island. Betty accidentally steals a dagger from the mystical temple, and the Predator follows them back to Riverdale and continues to use emojis to describe what he's going to do to the gang, which is kill them! Oh no! Okay, wait, yeah, why the fuck is the Predator's visor emoji reacting to things? Can we pick a line and ride it instead of swinging back and forth between Hyper Gore Fest and Hyper Gay Fest? That's gay meaning happy in the 1940s Archie comic sense. As far as I know, Archie and Jughead aren't fucking. Yet. On the upside, the next issue cover is pretty delightful. Issue 2! The Predator is in Riverdale and already trying to kill absolutely everyone, so at least he's acting in character. He tries to snipe Veronica, but in a classic cartoony bit of comedy, his shots are deflected at the last second by things getting in the way. Dilton arrives to tell them that the rich kids, Carousel and Jason, have been killed by what they suspect to be a wild animal. But there's no time for that! It's time for cake! And now I'm beginning to think I understand this comic. It's gonna teeter-totter between ultraviolence slash film and oblivious wacky character comedy. The start was a bit hard to wrap my head around since that Punisher comic was so mind-blowing in terms of perfectly fixing tone and all, but I think now I'm finally piecing together what in the fuck am I reading? Fuck it, alright, we're full horror movie now. Betty believes stealing the dagger cursed Cheryl and Veronica to die, and Jason was collateral damage. She sneaks Veronica out to go get the assistance of Sabrina the Teenage Witch to put a stop to it all. They show up to Sabrina's creepy residence and somehow don't comment on her complete redesign, where Sabrina says the only way to stop the curse would normally be to kill the same number of people cursed. But then she says there's an alternate spell she can cast to fix everything instead. Anubis, god of the dead, tells Veronica to shut up, which was my first laugh at this entire comic so far, and then the spellcasting begins. Fuck! That did nothing! Cause the Predator bursts in and shanks Sabrina like a teenage bitch. She even glucks all over the place. I'm not touching that one. And then the dagger shatters into a million pieces. There's a delightful running joke of Veronica getting splattered in other people's blood while the Predator trophyizes Sabrina. But here comes her cat, Salem Saberhagen, who need you forget is actually a human warlock trapped in a cat's body to save the— Never mind. The Predator then just fucks off for some reason, and Betty manages to catch photographic proof of the outer space alien. For some reason, a phrase I'm already overusing, which is not a good sign, Betty thinks that now that 3 people are dead and the dagger is broken, the curse is broken, while Veronica thinks the Predator is a ninja. Whatever. Outside, the Predator's magical emoji mood reader claims Betty to be a huge prize for some reason, and the dagger mystically reforms itself, while something incredibly subtle, but subtly incredible happens. Veronica changes into one of Sabrina's clean outfits, and pay very close attention here. Someone remembered to ask, what the fuck is going on? Over at Archie Comics. In nearly any other horror schlockfest, not only would this gratuitous underwear peekage be expected, it'd be downright mundane, and someone absent-mindedly figured it'd be a great idea to just throw this into the Archie recontextualization. But someone with a brain decided, wait, we can't just like peep on Veronica's fat ass like that. That's not Archie anymore, man. But by this point, the pages were already drawn. Some bigwig CEO waddled in and said, Put a dresser in the way of her voluptuous cheeks. I don't have time for this nonsense. I've got to go print Sonic the Hedgehog, something people will actually read. It's just fascinating to me to try to decipher the behind the scenes here. How much leeway were the creators of this specific Archie comic line given? How much did they want to push it even more, but corporate stepped in? How much of this did they think was unironically a great idea? And how much of it was them really just not giving a shit in the first place? We'll never know. But what we do know for sure is this comic fucking sucks. Everyone gets together at the high school to prepare to fight the Predator, and now I can also explain another reason I've grown so tired of this comic already. Look at page 19. Words. The dialogue isn't snappy. Nothing here is amusing. It's just removing the heartwarmingly quaint dialogue of typical Archie fare and replacing it with bland yogurt mush. Nothing here is interesting or clever or a good use of the source material. It gets the one thing, and I mean the one thing wrong, that all good crossovers avoid in order to survive. If your crossover has it so you can swap out one of the known brand entities for any other and nothing changes, you've made a mistake. Let's backpedal to the book that I'm most likely going to start a new religion over now. Archie Meets the Punisher understands the golden rule. The crossover needs a reason to be a crossover. Archie acts like Archie. Punisher acts like Punisher, and the writers find interesting common ground. If you replaced all the Archie kids with generic townsfolk, the happy-go-lucky nature of their daily squabbles would feel extremely out of place in a Punisher comic, and the Punisher himself and his way of operating are much too brutal for a straightforward Archie comic. They both need each other. Now you see here? Each and every person in this cast could be replaced with stock oblivious teen and nothing changes. Sure, I guess the Predator is here as the Predator and they're trying to acclimate him to this universe with the dumb little emoji visor thing, but there's a distinct lack of screwball comedy here, and I just don't like any of these people that I see in my book. Unfortunately, a 50% is a passing grade, and it's not good enough to just airdrop a movie monster into a woefully generic plot and slap a second brand sticker on the cover. Let's just get through this a little quicker and just stick to the highlights, because if I were reading this for fun, I would have put it down by now. Yes, that book was so stupid that I had to roast it twice in the same video. I'm just getting the same vibes. Army General shows up, tells kids Predator Alien is Predator Alien, mentions it's a teenager like them. Jughead agrees to be a decoy for food. Men charge to battle Predator for pussy and the Halo 3 co-op campaign. Predator attack. Kids die. Self-sacrifice. Predator screaming emojis for some reason. Jughead find knife. Issue 3! Props for the cover art. It will never stop rolling what in this house, because it's easily the best part of this series. Half of the group leaves. It takes like 5 pages to get to this point, and I'm really bored, and I've evolved beyond highlights, so I'm just straight up skipping stuff now. Dilton arrives telling the students staying behind they should see something in the AV room, and I start putting bamboo shoots under my fingernails because it means that I have to read the next page. Can we turn the lights on?
No, they're on a timer, and Weatherby gets furious when I mess with it.
Dilton, we're being hunted by an alien and you're hung up on the bee getting peeved? I don't think...
He said if I mess with the school's power grid again, he'd take the AV room away from me. It's audio-visual, Dilton, not audio-visual power. Although AVP is a pretty cool acronym.
What does the Association of Volleyball Professionals have to do with anything, Dilton? Do you really think that now, in the middle of a bloodthirsty alien attack, it's the best time to practice some serve set spikes? Well, let's just head down to the beach and put on our swim trunks and slap some balls around together. And that's exactly what happens. Once everyone's done gallivanting with sand in their junk, Jughead gets distracted by a vending machine, and the Predator gets distracted by all the decoration possibilities presented by a fresh human skull. Archie realizes Jughead is missing, and the exact cliche thing we expect to happen happens. It's not even a creative kill involving the vending machine, it's just... And then Jughead died and his head was put in the vending machine. Yawn. We could have gone for some ironic death, like Jughead trying hard to get the stuck candy out of the machine and then the Predator drops the machine on him. Like how your odds of being killed by vending machines each year is better than you winning the lottery, and Jughead literally won a sweepstakes at the beginning of this series. It would have been interesting. But this does at least give an amazing line that would work both in this comic and the Archie meets Chris Hansen crossover special.
You stupid monster! My friends aren't warriors, they're kids! Jughead is the gentlest spirit you'll ever meet! I am going to kill that Predator!
Dilton begins to rant about how he's a dumb nerd and he'll never get laid, and Archie is too busy saucing up 2 ladies at once to care. But it culminates in... so... It culminates in the fact that Dilton secretly built a giant Archie kill exosuit.
What? Why is it Archie?
Don't you realize, Veronica? Everything is Archie. Always.
I don't know what to make of this comic. I really don't. Now we're full back to not giving a shit after an issue and a half of giving too much of a shit. Which is it? Are we self-aware, or are we really trying to do a horror movie Archie plot? I don't know. I really don't, but Mecha Archie is hysterical, and I'm fully on board with this book again. Dilton has some issues with controlling the robot, and then the Predator leaps in. Archie stalls for time while Dilton gets the weapons systems online, but things have been going a bit too good for everyone, so now the robot's out of control. Archie gets shanked by the green-blooded gay boy. The robot traps the Predator in a tiny net, which is a death sentence because it's a net and it's tiny, and Betty convinces the robot to stop going berserk because she hints that she'll have sex with it. I'm not kidding. Oh, fuck, I have the hiccups. Fuck. Oh, fuck. Leave all this in. Leave all this in. I get so many comments on... Oh, fuck, all of my videos asking, do you laugh at your own jokes? Do you laugh at your own scripts? 99% of the time I don't. I am very, very good at deadpan. But what got me here is that's real. That's what happens. I didn't make that up. I'm not exaggerating. Fuck. The Predator escapes the net because of course it does. Everyone in this comic is stupid. It's a fucking net. And he shows everyone how stupidly proficient he is at pulling out heads with spinal cords still attached. Issue 4! Lame. This is lame. This cover sucks. What happened to the fun covers? We're just dropping any sort of campiness and we're going for violence, tits, ass. Actually, looking at Veronica here, she seems to have left her ass at home. Most of his friends are dead. The Predator demasks himself and skins Dilton's skull with his mouth for seemingly no reason. Veronica tells the Predator to fuck off. These are my friends, and you can't have any. Friends are for Veronica's, not for baby predators. And then he gets all confused, and he does. It's riveting, I tell you. We cut back to Veronica's bedroom, where there's a nice little Punisher meets Archie Easter egg to remind us of a better story. And the girls deduce that since Dilton was killed by the knife, it only needs one more sacrifice to break the curse and end this nightmare. Veronica's mega mansion is set to self-destruct as a trap for the Predator, while Archie is thrown into a funny little high-tech medical bed that's apparently programmed to have customized skull emojis if it knows you're dying. Veronica cranks up the Save Archie-O-Matics dial to 11, rams a giant science needle in his neck, and then fucks off to dress Betty up fashionably because these women were written in the 1940s. If they're not playing dress up or going boy crazy, they're probably dead. Turning the machine up to 11 turns out to have been a very, very bad idea, as some horrible mutation type shit's happening, and I just remembered this is an Archie comic. Predator's here now, and this should absolutely have been the final issue cover. Just remove the gas speech bubble and you've got something great. But more important than my perfect critique is plot convenience, because even though Veronica is at even less than point-blank range with a machine gun that fires 600 rounds per minute, she misses every single shot on that 10-foot-tall, broad-chested, big-dicked alien right in front of her. There's some fighting and chasing, and it's shown the Predator is beginning to grow attached to Betty and Veronica, and it's all very boring, but I gotta hand it to this book. This next page almost made this entire slog worth it.
Is he following us?
Yes!
And close. Bye-bye.
Not so fast.
You son of a bitch.
The machine made Archie super buff, and he and the Predator fighting stuff. And we're gonna skip through here because I read the rest and it's pretty standard fare, but the ending is pretty good. Archie is losing. Veronica tries to help with Dagger, takes collateral damage. Archie goes back to losing. Betty jumps in to save the day, loses her arm. Archie loses his life. Betty and Veronica double team the Predator, but not in the way you're thinking. The dagger disappears now that the curse is lifted. Veronica urges Betty to escape to the panic room. Predator survives, which means the cursed dagger absolutely should not have disappeared, and the curse should still be going, but whatever. Predator, now in love with the two girls, begs Betty to go on and survive. House explodes, and now we get this whole thing wrapped up.
What happened?
I used your dad's machine to heal us. It's really super. And did you know there's a whole section in the manual on face and body reconstruction?
Please tell me you didn't give yourself plastic surgery.
Ew, no. Not for us. But guess what, Ronnie? We won't have to live without at least some version of Archie after all. I mean, we'll have to teach him to chill out around cutlery, but he is devoted to us. After all, he dragged himself in here with us. It's a nice little Tales from the Crypt or Twilight Zone style ending, and I'm kind of all for it. I always love when a story ends with the reader saying, "Oh, that's kind of fucked up." It's too bad they fucked up the rest of the comic. We just committed the crossover cardinal sin here. Archie's entire existence in this book does not make a difference. Oh, sure, if you swap the Predator out for someone else, it wouldn't fit or make as much sense, but Archie and the gang could literally be anyone, and the story is exactly the same. Swap them around for Scooby-Doo or the Flintstones or every member of Congress for all it matters. Nothing in this story relates to the characters beyond the flimsiest of character definitions, and you don't get anything from this box of Archie subtext except stuff you could easily write for nearly any fictional group. I'm just disappointed. We stepped backwards into the realm of this is stupid and it sucks away from this is stupid and it rocks. I'm a big fan of series that do eye-rolling things on purpose because they want to be over the top. Metal Gear Solid, Yakuza, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, for example. But maybe the fact this is a comic book and not a manga is what fucked us here, because Archie vs. Predator forgets the one common thread that you need for it to work: strong characters who make the gimmick work. When I play a minigame that focuses on me capturing creepy men all over Japan and Hawaii and forcing them to battle like human Pokemon, I laugh and clap my hands because it's done in a way that reins in the fantasy just enough to be believable, or at the very least immersive, and isn't presenting itself as a big fuck it, who cares, wink wink at the camera scenario. There's direction and intent here, no matter how silly it all is. The creators of this thought about fun ways to make some part of your brain get invested in what's going on. Meanwhile, Archie vs. Predator is a stock monster movie story with the Predator and Archie slapped onto it to help sell comics. And maybe that's part of the joke. seeing this exact scenario happen to the Archie bunch, but then we run into the problem of the joke not being funny. Because any fan artist can make this happen in a matter of minutes. Give me what I came for if I'm a fan of those properties, not a mix and match playset of generic ideas. We want the Archie touch, not the Archie coat of paint. I'm trying so hard to not spend the rest of this video gushing over Punisher meets Archie, but it's really unfair that the first entry on the list just knocked it out of the park, because if Archie vs. Predator was that bad, then what in the fuck is gonna happen in Archie vs. Sharknado? Which, I'm gonna sit on the floor, which is a marketing comic made to celebrate the premiere of Sharknado 3 on the Sci-Fi Channel. I'm getting dizzy. And it was written by the director of the original Sharknado trilogy. There he is. There they are. There's 2 Sharknados on the cover. I guess we're in for double the action, double the fun, doubling over in pain because I have to read this shit. You may be wondering why my mood soured a bit even before glimpsing past the introductory cover. I'm just going to tell you the truth. I have been dreading reading Archie vs. Sharknado so much that for the last 2 days, every time I sat down explicitly to write this part of the script, I instead would just open new tabs in my browser, play some games, find anything else to do. It's because my motivation for this shit pile is at a dead stop. Because God above told me, hey, after that Archie vs. Predator shit show, your next task is Archie vs. Sharknado. And that really doesn't sound like a good time to me. We're in Washington, D.C., and people are protesting the government because there's too many Sharknados going on. Look, it's time I made a confession here. I have not seen a single Sharknado movie, and I truly don't care about them in any capacity. While I'm passingly familiar with the Punisher and Predator, I don't know what levels of self-awareness we're going to be tackling here. So far, an opening scene of people marching in the streets because of what I assume to be freak weather events, that's pretty good, that's pretty silly. But why do I have a feeling this story is going to be another generic cast of nobodies wearing the Archie Gang's premium DLC skins? The next page shows a storm a-brewing while also featuring me if instead of YouTubing, I brewed overly expensive coffee and hit myself in the head with a brick for a living. Betty and Veronica's genius plan in response to this new potential hurricane is to get on top of the Washington Monument to check it out, which breaks about 70 different storm warning safety code violations. These bitches probably don't even own hard hats. And then the Sharknado things happen. And then the Sharknado things continue to happen. I just don't get it. I'm like 5 pages in and already these two are stupid. Just real stupid. Despite the known presence of Sharknados and a severe storm rolling in, these two decided an elevator ride to the top of an unprotected tower was a fine idea. Archie meets the Punisher made the Goody Gumdrops townfolk stay true to themselves. Archie vs. Predator made them outrageous stereotypes of their already typecasted defined characters. Archie vs. Sharknado is just an excuse to say that title out loud as a real product instead of a stupid idea. And as the world's smartest expert on taking everything in life seriously because I change entire countries with every minute of my time spent, this book is going to be a waste of my time. Veronica's dad is perfectly limb targeted by some sharks in the Sharknado, and the tornado is now so strong that it's ripping the monument straight out of the ground. And maybe Halloween has come early, because I think it's time we did a little monster math. For the sake of an easier calculation, let's just look at the Lincoln Memorial for simplicity. The Lincoln Memorial is composed of all sorts of different rock. Granite, limestone, marble, but the key point here is rock. And based on this picture, the wind from this fish-flinging fiasco was strong enough to tear Honest Abe in his easy chair right out of his quaint little stone living room, which I would assume was destroyed to achieve this. If we take a look at this Reddit post, someone asks to calculate the speed wind would need to be traveling to carve through solid rock like it does in this scene from Avatar: The Last Airbender. This reply from user Maverick91 calculates that the wind would need to be fast enough to create enough energy to overcome the rock's density, which in this case comes out to roughly 27,850 miles per hour. Everything on Earth within this tornado is dead. Fuck the sharks, they don't matter at all, and in fact they're dead too. This is the equivalent to about 25 times faster than the average bullet. any kind of debris not immediately eviscerated by this is now the most lethal projectile known to man. Some of you out there who aren't creative or interesting in any capacity may respond to this with, "Bro, it's not that serious," because all you know is quoting what other people say to you. But without all of this, you probably wouldn't know just how dumb of a scenario we have on our hands right now. And when I deconstruct things, I like to turn over every stone of why my opinions are objective truth. This isn't Sharknado power levels here. Veronica and Betty are now trapped in an episode of Dragon Ball Z, which means logic is now entirely gone and anything could happen. And it's going to take a Herculean effort for me to care about the rest of the story. I'm not here for jingling keys, an Archie tale for new learners. Give me some meat, you soulless butchers. Betty and Veronica leap from the Washington Monument and through a convoluted series of actions that are really poorly portrayed by the art panels, safely land in the lap of Honest Abe. But they're not out to safety just yet, because two great white sharks are headed right for them, and Betty and Veronica manage to subdue them by catching them in a jacket and on the tip of an umbrella. Hey, fun fact, a great white shark weighs on average around 1,500 to 2,500 pounds, so I really don't need to do any physics calculations like earlier to tell you that Betty's arm should have been ripped clean off and Veronica should have been crushed to death from the force, because I have a much more pertinent question. Does anyone enjoy this crap? How in any way is this Archie? At all? Why would I buy this? Why would I read this? Who is this for? Who out there got any dose of excitement without irony injected in it upon seeing this? Why is everything everyone else's fault except mine? Betty and Veronica finally show a bit of silly character writing by being more worried that Archie won't be able to take them to the school dance tonight than the imminent undersea slingshot. And Archie gets invited to a boat party by the rich redhead from the earlier comic whose name I still don't care about. Dilton does the right thing and ignores the whores and free food and uses his laptop he brought to a wild party on a boat to track weather conditions. He's afraid a Sharknado may be headed to Riverdale. Meanwhile, Betty and Veronica have found a motorcycle and are driving it back to Riverdale and complain it's impossible to navigate it through the mess left behind by the Sharknado, even though there's plenty of room to drive around it there, and there, and there. And Betty, a character who admittedly does have rudimentary car mechanic skills in the original comics, has enough gusto to upright and fix a helicopter with a 2-ton fish lodged inside of it. Sharks show up at the boat party and we get one of the very few moments that I actually found kind of funny.
Did he just say run? On a boat? I'm becoming British.
It's a pretty good layered joke. See, like, screaming run on a boat makes little sense because there's nowhere to run to or get away from on a boat. And running on a boat in general is dangerous because it's all slippery and rocking and wet and shit. This one throwaway panel has made my inside smile more than the previous 16 pages. God, can I not wait for this to be over. Everyone swims for the boat, and the sharks, for some reason, torpedo themselves against the boat hard enough to kill themselves, and they do it all in the exact same spot so much that they form a corpse staircase Archie and What's-Her-Face used to climb aboard the boat. I'm sure that for this script, the writers just came up with 10,000 random ideas of wacky shark-based antics and then fed it into an Archie Mad Libs book, because it has been over 10,000 years since I last saw a story this paper thin. Sabrina the teenage bitch comments that her summer job as a lifeguard is the most boring thing ever, and then in the very next panel, she's excitedly watching the boat get ravaged by sharks. The sharks sink the ship somehow, and someone on board makes a very dated Star Trek reference. Moose King Kong's one of the sharks, and Sabrina shows up to be the Deus Ex Machina, only to be killed spectacularly, which is exactly what happened in the Predator comic, except without any of the decently high-quality art style to make it interesting to look at. As time keeps ticking away and we only grow older, slowly realizing that Archie vs. Sharknado still isn't over and all of us are mercifully closer to death to escape this nightmare, Archie gets the survivors on a speedboat. One of the sharks steals Jughead's hat, and I can't do this anymore. I just can't. I'm serious. This is so shit. It's so ass. It's so shit ass. This whole thing is joyless. If this was a standalone, over-the-top, dumb action disaster movie comic, I could maybe get into it if they found something to offer with the concept, but nothing here begets the whim, or wit, or charm, or anything related to Archie in any capacity. This just feels gross. It's a slideshow of dumb moments and ideas strung together that I could normally root for if they really played up the comedy bullshit of this whole thing, or came up with a plot that wasn't the most mind-numbingly boring thing imaginable, or put this nonsense in a universe where it would be entertaining to see people be this bombastically stupid in response to such an event. But Archie isn't that. Archie ain't it. This comic ain't it. I want to apologize for my complete and utter lack of enthusiasm going forward about this, because normally even when media is bad, I can find things to get excited about. There's a U-shaped curve when it comes to entertainment, and things either need to meet a threshold of good or a threshold of bad to derive entertainment from. But this is just so... nothing. I just don't care. Because I know what's going on here. They expected people to read this and say, oh, that's ridiculous. That's so crazy. Whoa. And either find humor in this sporadic chaos happening to Archie or clap and giggle because someone thought a shark biting off a girl's bikini top was a hysterical idea. This comic's about a decade old, but if it was made in the modern world, it would be the creation of a business executive hoping someone posted a screen crop on social media of one of the panels with the caption, Archie versus Sharknado was so wild. Remember when Betty made a sword helicopter? That shit went nuts. This is the same type of humor from people who rep Calvin pissing bumper stickers or watch SpongeBob hemp pants. You take a known character, write one joke, and then repeat that joke forever because for most people, overloading something with sex, drugs, and/or violence is enough to reach the pinnacle of humor. Archie does violence. I get it. Call me a spoiled brat if you want, but I'll just bow my head in shame that I had to subject you to a downward sloping curve of intrigue here. I really should have reviewed these comics in reverse order, but I didn't know their contents beforehand, so it turns out that our academic performance only declined with age. Punisher meets Archie gave us perfection in balancing tones and characters. Archie vs. Predator at least tried some interesting things here and there to fit a plot that they came up with. Archie vs. Sharknado is a couple of college dudes sitting around on the couch laughing hysterically at the idea of, what if Archie had boobs in it? This shit sucks. I barely even talked about the fundamental problems with it. The art is absolute ass, and there's way too much dialogue for starters. I'm speeding through to the end now. Here's the highlights free of jokes because I'm old and my bones hurt. Josie and the Pussycats sing a song about the Sharknado at the school dance. Archie and his friends arrive to warn everyone. A Sharknado shows up. Betty and Veronica arrive and jump out of an exploding helicopter. The janitor gives everyone chainsaws to defend themselves from the Sharknado. This panel happens. Fuck you. Everyone starts killing sharks from a battle-modified lawnmower. Midge kisses a guy and it's literally mind-blowing. The plan is to blow up the Sharknado with a bomb. The nerd kisses a girl. They put the bomb in a shark's mouth. It blows up the storm, and the storm goes away. The end. This video achieves something special here that I didn't intend for at all, but it kinda worked out perfectly. With this, we got to see the sliding scale of types of crossover material. The genius blend of identity and charm, the moderately entertaining attempt at stumbling through combining concepts, and the worthless lack of anything designed to just push product on name recognition alone. Now that we're all smarter, more handsome, and a little bit taller, which is what happens to everyone who watches my videos to completion, I hope you can leave here with a better sense of the type of media you should be consuming. I'd usually have some musings or post-analysis here, but all that needs to be said has been said, and I don't want to think about Archie vs. Sharknado ever again. If the world's governments truly cared about their people, legislation would be passed tomorrow preventing anyone from ever uttering the title of that comic out loud again. But keep watching mainstream news and you just tell me how many of them even do a story on how shitty that comic was. I think the fact that not even a single one of them is going to talk about it should tell you everything you need to know.